Geology. This is mini geology program, radio show, KPFT HD3 channel, beautiful Montrose, in the middle, beating heart of Houston, Texas. Good afternoon to everybody in the U.S. Good evening for all of those that they are in the West, Europe, Africa, Asia, and something else to all of those that are the Far East and in the near orbit, close to the International Space Station, that are listening as well. This is Daniel Minizini, your inquisitive geologist, and today I have in here with me Samir Baral. He's a recent graduate looking for opportunities. He is going to be here representing that bridge that needs to connect the end of the university with the beginning of the work, but also, more importantly, a bridge that brings in this beautiful country people from abroad. In fact, Samir Baral, he is from Nepal, and we very welcome him to the show. Very welcome, Samir.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me. It's really exciting. It's the first time for me in radio.
So, Samir, very, very happy to have you in here because this program, Mini Geology, is giving voice not only to the elites, to people that they are in the associations, people that are successful or very smart geologists or great giant geologists, but also to students that they still don't have a name and don't have a voice. So in here you have a megaphone for your problems, your dreams, and the same I say to all of you listeners that are there, take note. And write me at minigeology@gmail.com or visit the website minigeology.com, which is a YouTube channel, and you're going to see or listen to this radio program as well as many other interviews to very important geologists all around the world. And also I want to tell you, today we're going to open the lines for you to call and ask questions to Samir. The telephone that you want to call is 713-526-8737. Write it down again, 713-526-8737. If for any reason you are outside this country, this nation, you have to put a +1 for United States, and then 713-526-8737. Samir, tell us about you. Where are you from and what do you do here?
Sure, Daniel. My name is Samir Baral. I'm from Kathmandu, Nepal. I came to the United States in 2003 in pursuit of my undergraduate education. Prior to that, in Nepal, I finished my primary education there, and then post-high school, I always knew, I had to get a Western education because one reason being that the political instability in Nepal in early 2000. Because
what do you mean by Western instruction or Western education? When you are living in Nepal, what does it mean? How does it look like?
Absolutely. It's a dream. It's a dream for a lot of the youngsters who are part of the society, especially in Indian subcontinent, if you will. A lot of us look at it in a similar way. It's considered as one of the most elite of education that you can get because it tends to increase your value not only in terms of intellectuality, but also in terms of how you are perceived in society. You are educated, or that there's doors open for you that never has. But of course, I say that in a very broad term because technologies and times are changing back home as well. So education back home is also getting pretty good. Compared to what it was in early 90s and early 2000s. So when I was growing up back home, that was amidst of a Nepalese civil war. The Maoists were fighting the government for the control, and things were pretty grim back then. So a lot of people of my generation who grew up around that time decided to flee the country, whatever shape or form they can find, either to Australia, United States, or United
What
Kingdom.
about your parents and your families?
Yeah, that was one of the issue there. My father worked for the government, and he was mostly deployed in these remote areas where these fightings were prevalent, and the chances of being part in the midst of that war was pretty high, and a lot of things were at stake at that time. Like families were being targeted, and partly not just me, like many people who were of that time can relate to me on that one. So in order to protect the family, parents did whatever they can to either to send their kids to India or like outside, especially if they could send them to Western countries where they could be safe. And so that was the sentiment back then, and it was like for anyone who grew up in a extremely stressful situation or war zone type of area. Although I grew up in Kathmandu, although one of the safest places in Nepal, but it was still the situation were pretty tensed back then because
when you were growing up with your friends and peers. What were you thinking about the topic of your studies?
Sure. In Nepal, generally, like whenever you're growing up from primary to high school education, everybody seemed to be focused on one of the two main topics. One is medicine, and one is engineering, whatever shape or form it may be. Engineering can be electrical, mechanical, civil, not petroleum, but anything that has to do with the infrastructure that is highly promoted. And after that, anybody who wants to be part of the education system, they can do accounting or some arts, but very small percentage. And I say this in a way that, although I belong to the applied sciences group, which is geology, geology is one of those topics, although resourcefully, Nepal is one of the most richest country in the world in terms of geology and natural resources. There are a very handful of geologists who are actually out there. In fact,
is this true also for girls and also for women and the female part of your student body?
Yes, it is true. In fact, I think I've found one female geologist in the United States who I've met who is also from Nepal. It's kind of hard to find women geologists from Nepal, and I didn't see anyone when I was growing up back in Nepal. Well, in fact, I remember there was a small group of geologists who lived like a couple of houses down from me who were doing their master's thesis. I think when I say group, only 2 or 3 people, and they were talking about doing projects with the government, natural resources, or of like doing water hydropower surveying and stuff like that. And so even from them, like I never knew what the scale of geology could be. I never realized how impactful it is in terms of studies and as a profession. But I never thought of it like that until I came to the United States. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, because in Nepal, like we have a tendency. If you, I don't know if you can relate to it or not. Like you take things for granted the way because it's just there. The mountains are there, earthquakes are there. There's ubiquitous amount of rivers, and
you're missing the mountains. Huh?
Big time.
You're not the only one here.
So like and after I came to the United States, believe it or not, geology was not my first choice of study. I was here to do. My major was astrophysics. I came here to do astronomy and physics. And a couple of semesters, I came to Denison University in Granville, Ohio, for my undergraduate, and about a couple of semesters in, I realized, math, how physics was pretty astounding to me when I was doing it. But a couple of semesters down the road, I decided to just take an elective course called geology. Like, it seems that people seem to have fun with this. And then one of my professor, David Hawkins, he totally changed my life when he explained geology to me, and like you can explain it to a 4-year-old kid in a very simplified way. And he just picked me in the middle of a class, and he asked me, "Hey, where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Nepal." "Samir, where are you from?" "I'm from Nepal." And I'm like, "Oh, do you know there's fossils on top of Mount Everest. I'm like, that just blew my mind. that was a little like Twilight Zone moment for me at that particular point, and that just became a passion. Like, I wanted to learn more about this subject. So, and I did enough courses for math. I already was a math major at that time, but David Hawkins added renewed interest for me in geology.
One step back.
Yes.
When you were in Nepal,
Yes.
How difficult it was for you to come in here? How difficult it is for a regular student to move from Nepal to United States?
Oh goodness, the difficulties are just enormous. Like there are not only first you have to be really prepared, mentally and emotionally prepared to come to the United States.
What about economically?
Yes.
And through the bureaucracy?
Yeah, of course. That's another thing. First, like once you've set up your mind, if you're going to get a Western education coming to the United States, Australia, UK, or any European countries out there, you're set. Like I'm going to burn all the bridges back. I'm not going to retreat. So that's one mindset you have to have. Another bureaucracy like hurdles that we have to meet is the visa process. It's extensive. It's difficult. It's there's a lot of moving parts.
Is that because of United States or because of Nepal?
It is because of each and every country is different, because their documentation requirement has increased, changed because of policy changes, and things are. Some people have definitely abused the easy documentation system in the past. That's why I can see why countries had to make more stricter laws in terms of whether you can afford the education in the United States or any other country, or some other aspect, whether if is this university legitimate, or they had to do filtration, and that has gone to the point so extreme that even the most legitimate students are not able to get visa because of some very minute problems, like, hey, you cannot afford another semester of fees, so no, we cannot give you visa.
So let's talk about the economy. How much money do you need to move from a country like Nepal to one of the richest countries in the world, if not the richest?
Yeah, exactly. Well, in my case, I cannot attest to everybody who's out there. Everybody's situation is different, but one of the green stamping of getting a visa is a good scholarship program. If a university has found you to be eligible for a merit-based scholarship, your chances of getting a visa becomes much more higher. But even the fact that I had scholarship from Denison, almost up to 80%, I had to bring about good $8,000 for semester fees, plus another $4,000 for lodging and fooding for one semester.
Can you put it in perspective of that money with the value of
that
money in Nepal?
At that time, with $8,000, I think I could have bought a good piece of land in Kathmandu in early 2000, if I'm not being too overly optimistic right now. But I could have gotten some good amount of land, and that's a lot of money.
So
that
is your family that helped you?
Yeah, my family, my father and my mother, and all of us. We made a decision. Okay, Samir is going to United States. So
do you used to work while you are studying in Nepal, like in many other countries, if you can afford the studies, or maybe just for the fun of having extra money in your pockets?
So in Nepal or in the United States?
In Nepal.
Oh, Nepal. Well, I never had the opportunity to work because parents are really, and by choice as well. Some people are very focused on their studies, and parents don't want them to worry about working, so that get good grades and be good at what you do, fulfill the university's requirements, get the right TOEFL score, get the good SAT scores. So those were the priorities if you have decided you were going to come to the United States for studies. So, and because of that, working was not promoted at that time. But if I did have an opportunity to work back home, I volunteered a lot. I used to go to a Catholic orphanage just to get some additional good recommendation for the college applications. So we used to do that. A lot of students, potential students, they used to do that just to get foot in the door for the universities. So
And
that's what we did.
so did you ever study at the university in Kathmandu?
No, I
No.
never did.
Okay.
It was directly from high school directly to university here in the United States.
I see, I see.
Yeah,
I
there was
see, I
no,
see.
there was no college transition for me.
Okay, and so then you have your travels, and then
Right.
you move from Kathmandu to United States
Right.
directly.
Right.
Shocking?
Big time. The highways were huge, and people were driving like to the speed that I could not fathom. Like we were moving like maximum of 30 miles per hour. That was our highway speed, and things were just open for me. Like coming from places like Kathmandu, where houses are pretty close by, very like narrow gullies. I am pretty sure in Italy there are places like that
course.
too. And for me, geographically, the place was just open field. It was like I could just run anywhere without obstruction. So that was huge, and that was, in fact, a culture shock, the infrastructure shock for me, at least, to be honest with you. I'm like, wow. It's better than what I saw in pictures and videos. I like this, so I just kept on. After that airport moment, besides all the jet lag was gone, I was very excited to
And
be
then
part
we
of it.
were in which city were you?
I was in Columbus, Ohio. When
Okay,
I
Columbus,
first,
Ohio.
first time I flew from Nepal to here was I had a transit in Italy, and then I came here from there to Washington D.C. and then D.C. to
To
Columbus,
me,
Ohio.
it was very spectacular, the wilderness of
The
this,
wilderness, yeah.
This continent. So many trees and land
Yeah.
and green.
Indeed, yeah, like that's like it's definitely to be appreciated for.
So you came in here with a dream?
Yeah, big dream. I wanted to work for. I still want to work for NASA someday. That was my dream.
So in
Yeah.
Nepal, you really still have alive the so-called American dream?
Yes. Yes.
More than in here, maybe.
Oh, big time! Getting to America is American dream. For a lot of people, and it is just an like the magic that this the Western countries portrays for people just by being there. Unless, of course, like after you come here, you understand the trials and tribulations of this country, and then you may realize, well, the American dream is not so American dream at all. But people who do have a desire to make it out here, they can do it. I strongly believe they can do it. And but to this day, I mean, there's a craze for people to come to United States or any of the Western countries out there, and it's forever growing. It hasn't ceased at all. In fact, it has grown exponentially over the years. In fact, every last time I checked, like one of the neighborhood that I grew up in, out of the I think 25 families who were our neighbors. About 10 or 12 families, like sons and daughters, are here in the United States. Like, so you can see a lot of people are just coming here for education or whatever their purpose may be.
So let's talk about these tribulations in here, and let's go to the core of this chat that we have, which is, for me, important to spread out the word of the problems that
Right.
great students that they come from abroad they're having here. So
Right.
what are the main issues being foreign students in the United States?
First and foremost, a lot of the things I would say there are a checklist of things that I think every international student or foreign student may be different, but one of the base problems that I had to encounter was the cultural understanding of, like, because things that were okay at home is taboo here. Things are okay here are taboo back home. So just trying to find that, like, the balance between cultural understanding was one of the huge tasks for me. Like, if you just give me a very simple example, like hugging here is very simple, like, it's like hello, but hugging back home was, so first time my my international student advisor mentor hugged me, like, welcome to United, I was very uneasy so it's something very simple as that, and can go as complicated as even during school, group work. in school or in universities, like in a group was a group where as long as individual work you submit is different. But in fact, back home, in a group work means like everybody works at a project at the same time, and even if the words match, it's okay. But over here, it can lead to academic suspension. So these were the things. A lot of in terms of university level, these are the things that one should be very mindful of, and I had to learn very, very early on, because I made a very conscious effort, to follow the rules and policies of the universities to begin with. And on top of that, the social setting, again, the language is a huge thing. In the beginning, I was okay with English language. I couldn't speak as fluently as I do now. But in the beginning, I was very shy, because of my accent. I was because I could not complete my sentences. I felt left out and sitting alone in dining hall, eating all by myself. And I just felt left alone. Again, you have this group of international students in every university that can share that sentiment, and we come together and we grow. And it's good to have that support while growing as a young adult in American universities.
Okay, more problems.
Shut
it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut it out. Now,
Yeah, exactly.
what else? Beyond the cultural shock that we all have coming in this beautiful place.
Right. United States, although land of immigrants, and I love every aspect of it, trust me. I've gained a lot of wisdom here. I've gained a lot of personal satisfaction through career or academics or knowledge, whatever it may be. I'm really, really grateful to be here. But it does come at a cost, a lot of cost of time, agony, emotional turmoil. And because once you don't, if in a country where you don't have foundation of your family or anything that kind of unless you have a root in certain place, it's hard in the beginning to establish your own root just by yourself, because there are so many things you have to keep in mind: the laws, the relationships, the education requirements, the money. And I tell you, and I say it from looking at an evidence, there's a very fine line between American dream and American nightmare. There's a very fine line. So one mistake and you are doomed into American nightmare. And so those are to be on the positive side of American dream, you always have to be vigilant, and you have to carry yourself properly. You have to do right amount of education at the right amount of time. Yeah, if you have family here, you have to give them time, and to see your child goes to right school. And it just, there are so many moving parts about this country and policies and things, for example, insurance, a car insurance. You can ride a car in Nepal without insurance, it's fine, but it's a punishable offense here. So, these are the things when you come in front, why is this that's why U.S. is the way it is. Because it's the land of laws, and everybody needs to be protected from potential liabilities.
What about the issues that a foreign student may face regarding the bureaucracy of the visas in the immigration limbo, where they could fall easily?
Sure. Are you referring in terms of during our stay in the United States or before we come to the United States? During the stay. Okay. Yeah, during the stay is another challenge as well. Throughout the college career, I think it's pretty seamless. While if you maintain good student status, if you maintain your academic standards, you meet the university's academic standards, you're fine. Your 4 years will fly by before you know.
So you come here with a visa that says that you're going to be a student.
Yeah.
You study your 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years you have to study.
Right.
You can maintain the visa because you continue to.
Yeah, you continue to do it. That's part of your.
What does it happen when you finish your studies?
So we used to have a program called OPT, Optional Practical Training, It's a work experience extension of F1. This is the visa category that students enter in the United States. So during when I graduated in 2007, they had a 1-year extension of your visa to find work and get experience, and you have an opportunity of extending it more by becoming a professional, and companies can sponsor you for work visa afterwards. But now I think a couple of years, I think it's been 5 or 6 years that has been implemented. That 1 year has been extended up to 29 months or more. I'm not sure about that, but last time I knew, after graduation, after undergraduate education, graduation, you can have additional 29 months to stay within the United States working within that visa category. And so that is one thing, and those are valid. That can expire pretty quickly if you don't find job within 6 months to a year. So you have to be very aggressive on your job search, and that has discouraged a lot of students to go back home or be in a political limbo or becoming out of status. And it's like a curse. If you become out of status in this country, it's hard to. Sometimes it is hard to get back in a good immigration status. So a lot of students face, after graduation, lack of job opportunity, or something happened, or they are not able to find the right opportunity. They cannot find. Again, there are specific constraints. You have to be part of whatever you graduated with. You need to find job within that category only. So there are a lot of constraints that immigration policies put on people after college.
So do you feel you have changed on you, or after you finish your studies, that you can move as freely as you would like?
Yeah, well, there is definitely change, because depending on your industry, what you choose for your academics, some jobs are easier to find than others. But for me, it was hard. It was very, very hard. For a good 8 months, 8 months passed by, and I was still looking for opportunity after graduation. And believe it or not, with that visa, that particular extension of the period allowed us to work anywhere, because we had something called the EAD. That's a work permit. That kind of gives us an ability to work for anyone. But it's preferred that you work within your industry or sector. And for 3 or 4 months, I was doing, just to get some income flow, I was doing odd jobs. But, but the potential of getting rightfully sponsored for work visa was very low with those companies. And finding opportunities with big companies to sponsor for work visa were also low, because a lot of companies, I do not know whether it's by choice or by not understanding the visa process. Some people are not so adamant. Companies are not adamant to just jumping right away to sponsor someone right off the bat.
So, Samir, is there anything that you want to shout out to the students or recent graduate that they are looking for a job and they are listening?
Mm-hmm. Well, through my own experience, I've realized is that you cannot give up on your dreams. Do not settle for anything for your dreams, because if you have already achieved so much with education, with all the hard work you put in this country, you have developed yourself, you have composed yourself, you're a researcher, you're a scholar, you have big dreams, but there will be opportunities out there, and persistence is the key, and that's the reason why I'm here in the U.S. doing fine. They're doing well. In fact, my family is doing fine now, despite the immigration hurdles we had to cross through. And always be vigilant of your surroundings. Never be afraid of speaking out your mind and your problems to other people. Who knows, the next person that you could have potentially talked to may have solutions for you. So, and this is how we cultivate relationships out there, by talking about our issues. And if you only keep it within your own comfort zone of your own student community from your own countries, from my own experience, chances are they have as better reach as you do. But people from outside of your comfort zone, outside of your community, when you voice your opinions or your concerns, they might be able to help you out better. So always always step outside your comfort zone to talk about your issues, because you already have a tool in your hands of your certificate, of your education. So why not utilize it to this fullest potential? So
if you want to call and talk with Samir here at the Mini Geology Radio Show, call us at 713-526-8737. Again, +1 for United States, Texas, and 713-526-8737. If I see here a blip blinking red color, then you're going to be lucky. I'm going to pick it up, and you are going to be live here with us in beautiful Montrose, headquarters of KPFT HD3 channel. Samir, you were talking about relationships, and I know you are pretty active with the associations of geology and geosciences.
Right.
I know you have several roles.
Right. Yeah.
Some are passive, some are active, not just being a member. Do you want to talk about them? What these associations did for you when you had problems, and what you do for them?
Oh, absolutely. These professional organizations, I would say, are the life and blood of for anyone who want to better themselves in their field of expertise, because they not only provide an avenue to better yourself in terms of your professional affiliation. They provide mentorship opportunities. They provide scholarship opportunities. They provide, in terms of geology, they provide field trip opportunities. I mean, you come up with an idea and present it to these organizations, they will create an opportunity for you, because these are the kind of organization that is here to help us in times of need. And my association with Houston Geological Society, APG.
Go ahead. Let's see if we can try and have somebody here on the line. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
Hello?
Yes, hi. Is this KPFT?
Oh, this is KPFT. Who's that?
Hey, Danielle. It's Charles and Linda.
I think we have a very important person in here talking with us. Is that by chance the president of the American Association of Petroleum Geologists?
Yeah, we wanted to come and to just tell you we're enjoying the program and Samir's great story.
Thank you very much, Charles. It's great to have you here online, live, unexpected. Is there anything that you want to add in here to what Samir was talking about, or do you have any question for him?
Well, Samir is a great example of someone who really got involved and organized programs for the Houston Geological Society, and very proud of him doing that. And so we just wanted to say that we are happy to support and call in and just tell you how much we're enjoying the program.
Thank you, Charles.
That is very nice that you call us, and I know that you are pretty busy these days. You are organizing and you are speaker of the Super Basin Conference. Do you want to shout out for that conference? It's going to be tomorrow, the day after?
Yeah, so we're here at the Hilton America Hotel downtown in the room listening to the show, and we are going to a reception in a few minutes. And tomorrow, there are going to be about 250 or more geoscientists coming for 2 days to talk about the super basins, the world's biggest and most energy-rich basins on the planet, and we're having global experts. And so we're really looking forward to learning about energy from industry leaders.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Charles. And say hello to Linda.
I will indeed. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, Samir. Bye-bye, Daniel.
All right. Okay. Here we are. So, again, back to us, listeners. If you're listening live, remember that tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, 28th, 29th of March, you may participate to the Super Basin Conference here in Houston, which is the capital of energy.
Energy.
Many things are going on in here, Samir. So here is like, I don't know, New York for ballet or opera. So.
This is a dream place for any geologist, anybody who's associated with oil and gas industry. You can find any resource out here. This is where everything
I
starts.
like to say that Houston is for geologists what Rome is for priests.
Exactly.
and you, willy-nilly you end up in here.
Exactly.
Even if you don't know that they're gonna drag you in here, you're gonna be
Exactly.
stuck in here for a little bit, and then you're gonna be released.
Right. Geology is the kind of geologists are the kind of professionals who. Do we have another call?
Samir, we have another call. Hello.
Hello, is it Daniel? KPFT?
Yeah, this is Daniel of Mini Geology. Who's speaking?
This is John.
Hi, John.
How you
John.
doing?
Where do you call from?
I'm calling from Houston.
All right. Do you want to add anything here to the discussion we're having?
Well, I couldn't hear the last little bit because I'm calling, but I did want to say that one of my beliefs has always been that people that come to this country from a foreign country are generally very successful because the hardest thing they ever did is get through the visa process to get to this country. That's really very challenging. But my second question was, could Samir go over how he got from Columbus, Ohio, which is where I'm from, to Houston, Texas?
Sure, John. It's a very you're gonna like this story a lot. So while I was looking for opportunities because of that extension program U.S. government gives, I finally did found a well site geology work in Alaska. And I was working for a service company doing mud logging work for them in Alaska, and then I decided, they would fly me anywhere, from anywhere where my home base was, and then I decided to move to Houston and do the commute. In fact, Columbus to Alaska was kind of near compared to Houston to Alaska, but I just felt like if I make myself come down here, the opportunities would open up a lot for me. But in that course of time, besides Alaska, it took me to Southern California, South Texas, Louisiana, Rocky Mountains. So I had a lot of fun doing well site work all over the United States basin. So that's my story with from Columbus to Alaska to everywhere to Houston.
John, what about you? Well, you also are here in Houston. What happened to you?
Oh, me? Daniel, you've already interviewed me once. You just you can't tell that because my allergies are so bad.
I know now who's this mysterious man.
Yes. I came to Houston via California. I went to work for Chevron and then came to Houston and started working for ARCO and worked for several different companies and eventually ended up finishing my career at Anadarko.
Oh, wonderful.
As an exploration geophysicist.
Wonderful.
All right, John, do you want to disclose who are you?
I'm sorry, what did you say, Daniel?
Do you want to disclose what has been your role until a very few months ago? Who are you?
Well, yes, I am a past president of the Houston Geologic Society, and if you're a geologist and need some ethics training, I encourage you to come on down to the Petroleum Club tomorrow at lunch, where I'll be giving the ethics lecture for petroleum geologists.
Where is going to be that exactly?
At the Petroleum Club downtown Houston. That's in the Total building at, I believe it's Louisiana and
in the very beautiful downtown.
Dallas Street. I think that's right. I don't know the intersection exactly.
What time are you giving the talk?
We'll start at 11:30.
11:30 a.m.
Yeah, we'll probably be a little bit more like 11:45 or something like that.
Don't say 11:45. People they arrive at 12.
Right, yeah, it need to be there by 11:30. It's a 1-hour lecture.
Thank you very much, John. Thanks for calling. You are always welcome to come in here and visit whenever you want.
All righty.
Bye.
Thank you, John.
Good day.
Thank you, John.
All right. So, you see, two presidents. They call you, man.
Yeah, I know
Samir.
both of them. I have somehow, during my tenure at AGS, I have had a lot of help, and I learned a lot from both of them. They're my celebrities.
So if you are not a president and you are listening to, we don't want the call of a third president, please. If you're not a president and you want to call KPFT at Mini Geology Radio Show, please call at +1 713 526 8737. 713 526 8737. Were we in the middle of something?
Yes, the importance of these societies in professionals' lives. As I was saying, these societies are the life and blood of anyone who wants to professionally develop themselves in any field of their choosing. And happens to be Houston is a cradle of it, like APG, AGS, SPAA, and SPE. I mean, you can be part of cross-disciplinary societies and learn a lot from each other. And not only they provide mentorship program. I mean, as I was saying earlier, like if you have an idea, just propose that idea to the society and see it flourish. You may be a legacy of that idea, and it will benefit the future generation of geologists or any other professions out there.
Samir, you were talking about the cross-pollination and the relationship between other disciplines. I'm intrigued by the studies that you made, because through your previous study of astrophysics, you are very familiar with mathematics.
Yes.
And you're kind of bringing together the math and the geology.
Right.
Can you tell us something about this? What intrigues you about this marriage, geology and math?
Sure. Math, like when you think about math as a subject, the applications are endless. And if you can understand and create models, do numerical modeling, do empirical modeling, and understand the equations or whatever the analysis that you are doing, and you understand the numbers and what those numbers represents, it greatly enhances your interpretation abilities.
Do you think that our geologists more scared when talking about mathematics, or mathematicians more scared when they talk about geology?
Well, I don't know where to put that fine line, because every discipline is unique in its own way. But I think I found that geologists might kind of grill me on this one if I make this statement, but generally they tend to be scared of mathematicians.
I'm one of those. I roll my eyes and
right. So the importance of the cross-pollination is so important, because technology is growing on an exponential scale, and you have to keep up. We can't just be good old colors only, on the paper kind of geologists. Like we have to.
Oh, that's not enough anymore.
It's to me it's not. It's a great fun skill set to have, Daniel.
Sorry,
but
green for Cretaceous, blue for Jurassic.
but on my own experience, I found that it has become a need for me to enhance my mathematical skills, to do numerical modeling, to understand what the numbers represent and how can I correlate that with geological problems, and what kind of solutions I can give based on my mathematical analysis.
What about the relationship with engineers? You also study or work with engineers.
Yeah, I did, but in a very superficial form. And I have never had to deal with engineers during a drilling project or during the extraction process. I never had to do that, so I cannot tell you about my experience with engineers. So, but for me, my relationship with production engineers with a brief time with an operator has been pretty good. Happens to be that engineer really loved geology and he tended to take our advice.
I can't avoid asking you about geology in Nepal. Do you want to talk about geology in Nepal and how the society, the common people, they live what they don't know it is geology. Well, what do they think about geology? Do they know about the importance of this discipline?
Well, in Nepal, again, like any other discipline, I really wish there was a good infrastructure placed in terms of geological education. In India, there is. I believe the major universities, like a lot of the, I think even Nepalese universities do provide geology as a major, as a degree. But to foster that profession is one of the most lacking aspect of unfortunately in the Indian subcontinent. I really wished, like, if I had an opportunity to go back home and like establish a business there, because Nepal, India, Pakistan, all Indian subcontinent region is geologically active. There is a lot of resources. There is minerals. There is hydropower resources. In fact, it can Nepal can generate hydropower that can provide power to entire Indian subcontinent. So, although infrastructures are in place, but not to the extent of its possibilities out there.
You just mentioned that you would like to go there and have like a work there. And
oh yeah, of course, I would like to go back.
It's be an entrepreneur there.
Yes, it is my responsibility. I have to, because United States gives me an ability to enhance my skill sets. To be a decision maker, to do something professionally develop myself and create projects, to generate revenues for a project, generate capital, and probably take that to benefit. If I could overcome the political bureaucracy, of course, which is pretty prevalent back home, these kind of projects, and people do this in everyday basis. A lot of Nepalese entrepreneurs all over the world invest in Nepal, and the same is true for other South Asian countries too. And it is to us, because we pay the debt of being in this country, where we professionally develop ourselves through taxes or whatever the form to develop its own infrastructure. But to us, it is also a responsibility for the people who are born in the native country to do something for their country as well, and that is imperative. I cannot let go of that additional dream that I have.
Thank you very much, Samir Baral. I really, really appreciate you coming here, shouting out, being open, expressing your dreams,
Right.
the nightmares, the fine red line in between the American dream and the American nightmare.
Right.
And I also encourage all of you, students or people that they are in this ambiguous situation now, where is Samir of looking for opportunities, to call me, even here now at 713-526-8737, or write in an email at minigeology@gmail.com. You can also listen to this program again at minigeology.com, which is a YouTube channel, and or you can Google just Mini Geology and maybe Rice University, where we have a web page loaded up there. Another thing very important I would like Samir to say before closing is shouting out to your people
Right.
in Nepal and all that area, because I really hope that they can listen to you and learn from you, being inspired by what you say.
Right.
And I really hope that you feel already very proud about your people there. So
Right.
the mic is open. You can
Right.
say whatever you want.
So, people in my country, if you're listening, or everybody who can relate to me in any way or form, I can say that this opportunities are endless in worlds. You can choose whoever you want to be in your own native country or any Western countries where you feel that you can fit, and you can see that your talent can bring a difference, make a difference in any place you can go. I would say take the leap of faith, be courageous, persevere through life's difficulties, and one day, if you are absolutely sure about your dreams and goals, you can attain it no matter what. And for anyone who aspires to be a geologist, I can tell them that Oh boy, it is a fantastic opportunity. You can be out in the field. You can camp out there in the nature. You can. This is one of this profession that the affiliation with other geologists is not simply professional. It's a fraternal organization. No matter where you are in the world, if you tell another geologist that you are a geologist, you're going to have some great conversation of rocks and over some beers too. So I have had a rewarding career both in terms of professional affiliation as well as education, and I'm still pursuing my dream of being a geologist, making a difference in oil and gas industry, and I would like to continue to do so and bring the skill set that I have gained and always give back to your mother country as well. And this is our collective responsibilities, and we have to do it no matter what the costs are.